going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web here on a happy
Hump Day
edition. How do we start off this show? As you know them, you love them, you got to have them. Let's get out of the way so the roommates don't complain too much, right? Bring the passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. So Super Bowl 59 is in the books, and we have a new world champion. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. Who could have saw that coming, right? I mean, I don't think there was a lot of people that actually expected the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. Of course, it goes back to the first drive. You could hear fans saying, oh, here we go again with the refs and the pass interference against A.J. Brown. It's going to be the same old thing, but it was not last Sunday. In fact, it was a pretty boring football game unless you were an Eagles fan. Again, the Eagles win 40-22, Super Bowl 59 world champions at this point. So definitely want to get your thoughts on it. But it goes back to what? What does it go back to that we always talk about? When we go back and talk about the teams that win Super Bowls consistently, it goes back to defense. It's always about defense. Get after the quarterback. And that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles did. 6 sacks, harassed Patrick Mahomes. Kind of looked like, I don't know, that Bucs defense with Todd Bowles, which, you know, a lot of fans forget about, that he was the defensive coordinator of getting after it. I mean, it means so much. That's why I come on this show, usually Monday and Wednesday nights, and talk about the biggest need for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. And I'll continue to pound the table as the biggest need, in my opinion, for the Bucs is an edge rusher. And oh, by the way, Josh Sweat is a free agent. 2.5 sacks. He made lots of money last Sunday night, just a couple of days ago. He'll be a free agent. Is that somebody that you think the Bucs should go after? In fact, that's one of the main questions tonight. Do you want to see the Bucs go after Josh Sweat, who's 28 years old, 8 sacks for the year, 2.5 sacks versus the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? I mean, they got after it, and he was a big part of it. Unstoppable. Looking great. Former Florida State Seminole. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Thank you very much. So he's going to get paid. Is that somebody you want to see the Bucs go after? Is Myles Garrett somebody you like to see the Bucs go after? Or Trey Hendrickson? Would you like to see the Bucs go after him? That is the question for the night as we get into Bucs news. Because, you know, the great thing is that even though you crowned a world champion Philadelphia Eagles, the year starts all over again. This is where we get to work. Oh, by the way, 329,000 new viewers on Facebook. Listen, I'm all about, you know, patting myself on the back, patting the show on the back, but I'm also about telling you guys, giving you your flowers, if you will. 329,000. We're nearly at 330 viewers on Facebook. Completely amazing. So I really appreciate that. I do. And we'll continue to grow this show throughout the offseason. We will. We don't stop working. We get started. This is how we do it in the offseason. We talk about what you think your Tampa Bay Buccaneers should do. What do you think they should do? Should they go after one of these edge rushers and a Josh Sweat? A lot of people would say, you know, 8 sacks, nothing to write home about. He's going to get paid big time money. But then again, you look at the situation, what he did in the postseason, what he did during the regular season. He led the Eagles with sacks, first and foremost. He may not want to leave, but there may be somebody out there that's going to pay him over $20 million. And the Bucs may be one of those teams. And the reason why you look at this and you say, well, is Jason Licht going to do this? Well, you don't have to give up draft picks because he's a free agent. You know, Myles Garrett, we talk about it. I've told you, to me, that is a slam dunk. I would do that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. If you have to give up 2 first-round picks, so be it. The championship window is open, wide open. The championship door is wide open. Kick it in, because that's what you're going to be able to do with Myles Garrett. I know this man right here who's coming on as my co-host has another suggestion, which Pewter Report put that out. Chase Young is also a free agent coming from the San Francisco 49ers, New Orleans Saints. Could he be somebody that you would be interested in? A Trey Hendrickson, who I've forgotten about, but a former nemesis, if you will, from the New Orleans Saints. Yes, 17 and a half sacks, led the NFL. Would that be somebody? Because he's not going to cost you 2 first-round picks. Maybe a second or third-round pick, possibly, depending on what the Bengals are going to do. So this is where we continue to dive in and get into some of the moves that you would like to see this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team go with in this offseason. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 here live on Facebook. As we talked about it, 329,000 freaking views. Are you freaking serious? For a sports talk show that does not have a radio station, for a sports talk show that does not have a TV station. And oh, by the way, top podcast of 2024, the Sports Web. You got to love that. That's what I'm talking about. That is a power to the people. That is a power to the Bucs Nation. That's what we can do together on a Monday, a Wednesday night, before and after Bucs games. We don't need a radio station. We don't need a TV station. We have each other. Once again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So without further ado, I'm going to hold off on the phone calls. I'm going to get out to my co-host here. Sports Web. My bad. There we go. Again, I always say the fans are the lifeblood. I appreciate you as always. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram Live, and Twitter. Continue to like and follow. Here we go. Let's go out to Mr. Greek himself. Harry the Greek, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. As I announced it, and it's a big deal for me with, how long we've been doing this show together. 329,000 viewers on Facebook. You got to love it. Welcome on a Wednesday night, my friend.
Peter, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for having me on. What are you doing?
Well, we're getting recapping Super Bowl 59. Of course, I want to get people's thoughts on that. What did you think of the game? A lot of people are wanting to talk about the halftime show. It's controversial. I'll just give you this. I'm an audio guy. I thought the first part of that halftime show didn't necessarily sync up, couldn't understand it. I'm a Kendrick fan. I thought he did his thing there. I understand the beef with Drake. I understand there's a different message to it. I'm not offended by it. To me, it's not that serious. I wish it were like Prince. I wish there were every artist out there like Prince. But, Prince is a once-in-a-lifetime halftime show. But as far as that goes, if you want to talk about that, we can talk about the game. And can we please put this whole nonsensical thought that Patrick Mahomes is as great as Tom Brady? We'll start there. Welcome to the evolution.
So what was the first question you asked me?
Well, what did you think about Super Bowl 59, of course?
Well, I gave out 7 picks. 6 of them came correct, especially with all the proposition bets. And I'll tell you what, it was a fabulous game. I'm telling you, it was great to watch. The only thing I didn't get right, Pete, was the under. That was it. But I'll tell you what what was special about this? And I had to wear a commemorative jersey of the Chicago Bears. There's a reason.
See that. Talk about that.
Buddy, that was. I'm talk about that in a second, but I'm going to talk about something because that Super Bowl defensively almost was as dominant as what the Bears did to the Patriots. Almost. They had 29 yards of offense, Kansas City, in the first half. The Bears held New England to minus 19 yards in the first half. Both of them had 6 or 7 sacks. There were 2 rookie cornerbacks to score a Super Bowl. One was Reggie Phillips from the Bears, and I forgot the gentleman's name for the Eagles who did it. Really great.
Cooper
It's just
DeJean,
that's it.
22-year Cooper DeJean, 22
It
years
was
old from Iowa, which, by the way, the game at that point was 10-0. It really breaks that game open. It's a huge turnover, and we always talk about it, how turnovers make a major, major difference when it comes to those critical games.
I talked about how Patrick Mahomes would put one on the carpet and possibly throw not one but 2 picks in that game. He did. And you know, and then it was really cool, the pick six. Do you know how much money a defensive touchdown was for either one of those 2 teams? It was huge. And the only thing I missed was the under. It
Yeah.
was just absolutely phenomenal. But going back and talking about the defenses, you know, the defenses and how special that game truly was. They talk about the game what Tampa did against Kansas City, and that was pretty damn impressive. But that pales in comparison to what Philadelphia just did to this team. Not one blitz by Philadelphia, and
Yeah.
they put Patrick Mahomes on his back. By the way, Tampa did almost the same exact thing against them.
They did.
And well, what I'm telling you, it was something to watch, man. It really was.
I thought Tampa's
Now, the
performance
halftime
was,
show,
Mhm.
okay, I'm just going to let you know right now. Did an
Yes.
interview with ESPN Radio, and I hung up. I have no opinion. I like Kendrick Lamar. Don't ask me about it. I don't care because of man with my skin color. There's no right answer, yes or no. So don't even ask me about it. I like Kendrick Lamar. That's all I'm going to tell you.
I do too.
Okay, so I don't want to get into a debate what I thought about the halftime show because I'm not going down that rabbit hole. So please, if you're calling on the phones into the phone lines and you guys want to talk about it, it's not going to be with me. If you're going to post a comment and I'm going to ask Pete not to even read it. It's not because of the message. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. The end.
Well, I will say this. Listen, I think a lot of people,
please, don't involve me.
Right. I think a lot of people made a big deal about it. They wanted to see and I threw it out there. What did you think of the halftime show? And then on top of it, you know, who would you like to see next year? And they're in San Francisco. And I think a lot of people would say, you know, maybe Metallica, but Jay-Z, of course, is now running that. I understand it. It's also for the younger audience. Halftime shows are different these days. And again, they had a message. If you want to talk about it respectfully, we can. But again, the game was there for me.
I don't want to.
Okay.
You can talk about it all you want. I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I have received so many emails over this, so many DMs. It is absolutely, people are putting me on blast because I just refuse to talk about it.
Yeah, that's okay. And that's all right. You don't have to talk about it on this show if you don't want to. You can have an opinion over phone lines. I saw Frankie from Wisconsin calling in. Call back if you want to. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Tell me what you thought about the Super Bowl. I thought the commercials absolutely sucked. Did we see any redeeming commercials? Because you usually are like, you're watching the Super Bowl, the game isn't good, but at least you could be entertained by the commercials. Did maybe the Seal commercial?
You know, they were honestly, it was the worst commercials I've seen. You see, I will comment about that, but first I want to give a shout out to my 2 cousins. Man, I'll tell you what, they're up here from mile marker 11 down in Key West. They don't get away from Tomorrowland being down there in South Florida, and I know they're up here and they're visiting. They're having a really good time. They're probably tuning into the sports web right now.
Yes.
Peter, they can't get enough of you. You know what I'm saying?
I love it, man.
They can't get enough of you. Oh, by the way, the jersey. You ready?
Yeah.
My agent from FanDuel TVG, Mr. Nick, thank you. I love you very much. I don't want to talk about what the 66 means, okay? Nick, thank you very much. It's symbolic, but on the back side of it,
there go.
It says
the Greek right
the Greek.
There. And for that, you get this. Let's go out to Trevor from North Carolina leading off the evolution. What's on your mind, boss? Philadelphia Eagles are now world champions over the Kansas City Chiefs. Or you want to talk Bucs? What's on your mind tonight, boss?
Buddy, I want to talk about everything.
Yeah, Trevor, go ahead.
I think you know, we gotta, at least for me, I gotta give respect and credit to the Philadelphia Eagles first and foremost. I mean, they won the championship, so as much as I love my Buccaneers, I'm a diehard Bucs fan. I came here to talk about the Super Bowl.
Do it.
Yeah, so I gotta admit, I mean, Philadelphia was awesome. I mean, from the beginning of that game to the very end, they didn't let up. I mean, to be honest with you, it was one hell of an ass whipping, if we're being honest.
Yes, it was. And I
Actually,
think
let me interject. They did let up, and it was in the fourth quarter, and that's why they ended up letting them beat them twice deep, and they gave up those 2 garbage touchdowns. Otherwise, my brother, I would have been 7 for 7 on picks. That game would have went under all day long.
Wow.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, though, they did put their backups in at the end of the game. I mean, because what they was up 40-6 at one point, and I'm just like, I credit them. I know they gave up touchdowns, but I give credit to the Philly coaching staff for letting some of their backups get some playing time in the Super Bowl. I think that's awesome. But from the beginning of the game, that defensive line, was amazing.
Yes.
And just like you guys were saying, they didn't blitz at all. And that front four was just getting home and just had Mahomes.
They were getting it, bro, for real. They were just getting after it.
Jalen Carter, you had Josh Sweat. I mean, plenty of just bodies just in going after Patrick Mahomes and, getting that penetration in that interior and getting it in his face. And that's what you have to do when you play Patrick Mahomes. And we saw that with this Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense with Shaq Barrett and JPP and Ndamukong Suh. And, of course, Vita Vea, what happens when you do that? I thought the Bucs' performance was more dominant than what the Eagles. But, I digress there. They did have a pick 6 there. But they did give up points to Kansas City. That's right. The Bucs did not give up a touchdown. The only touchdown in Tampa was at TIA for the Chiefs. And I'm sticking by that.
Exactly. I mean, no. I mean, I'll be a homer. I mean, I love the fact that, okay, clearly – the Eagles dominated the Chiefs.
Right.
No one can debate that.
Nobody.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Literally nobody.
But he's not the GOAT, and they need to stop this analogy with Patrick Mahomes.
I agree with that.
He could be the GOAT, but he's going to be the baby GOAT, just like I said back when they played the Buccaneers. And you know what? There's something they're not going to do. He couldn't beat a 40-year-old Tom Brady. He's a great quarterback, and he has done things in the National Football League that no quarterback has ever done.
Sure.
But you got to stop putting him in the same conversation. Let me tell you something. Patrick Mahomes, okay, in my opinion, not the Sports Web or Peter Blake's opinion, I'm going to tell you right now, he is a really, really good quarterback. But I can name 5 other quarterbacks that are better than Patrick Mahomes. 5.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Oh, yeah. I sure can. Debate with me anything about a Dan Marino or Joe Montana. Want me to keep going? Young. That's just 3 of them.
But I think people get wrapped up on, and you see this all the time.
But it's a product of coaching and a system, and the man fits it perfectly.
And it's not only that, it's the fact that he's got championships. I mean, how many championships? 2 over San Francisco, 1 over Philadelphia. You can't take that away.
I'm talking about quarterbacks.
Well,
I'm talking about playing the position.
A lot of people would say because of those championships that he's won in the Super Bowl, that makes him better than a Dan Marino, and it makes him better than a lot of those quarterbacks that you would.
No, I didn't say. I'm talking about being in a GOAT position. Now he's back. He's still at an elite level, and he may be above these players.
Right.
But if I was picking a quarterback to lead my football team, it wasn't going to be Patrick Mahomes. I'll take Joe Montana every day and twice on Sunday.
Love Joe Montana. I love Joe Montana.
He played in the toughest era.
He did.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yes, he did. Steve Young and Dan Marino. I mean,
Joe Montana, but you had the Giants defense.
Joe Montana.
Yes.
Bears, Giants, Washington.
Yep.
Because the 80s, it's crazy because obviously the Niners were the team of the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even within that era of the 80s, you had so many great teams in that era. Like obviously the 85 Bears, the 86 Giants.
Yep.
And then you look at the AFC, the Dolphins were really good. Denver was really good, even though, they went to a few Super Bowls in that era, but obviously they didn't win, but they were still a good football team.
Sure.
Cincinnati was a good football team in the 80s.
Broncos, you mentioned the Broncos, right? Yeah, John Elway. So
that era was
Buffalo wasn't even bad in the late 80s going into the 90s.
Well, and the point is that the physicality of the game is different back there in the 80s and the early 90s. And now they've taken it's still physical. It's just not as physical. When you had Ronnie Lott, who had a finger messed up or broken, or had the
Ronnie Lott, freaking Lawrence Taylor,
right?
Bruce Smith,
Steve Atwater. He had an injury. I believe Lott had an injury or something. He had a cut off finger or something like that, and still played through it. I mean, that's the kind of physicality we're talking about, which nobody can ever be able to duplicate that. The game will never go back to that. It will never go back to that because there are too many lawsuits down the pipe. And now the game has, it's shifted more focus to the offense.
To be fair, though, I will say, our team, our latest Super Bowl team, the 2020 Buccaneers. I think we benefited from the newer rules because we had Tom Brady at the age of 43. He was 43 when we won that Super Bowl.
Correct. Yes.
Had the rules still been in place like it was in the 80s, Tom Brady's not playing till 43. He's retired.
Oh no. I agree with you 1,000,000%.
Right.
That you are speaking absolute truth there.
Well,
but hold on. But wait a minute. To be fair, that level of play, playing rough, was really, it stopped being so rough about 96, 97. And then right around 2005, 2006, they decided to put, a blanket around quarterbacks and, wrap them in bubble wrap.
Right. And there was also, Bounty Gate, that situation happened. And again, it was lawsuits and CTE and players passing away with their life expectancy, 52, 53 years old. So of course there had to be some changes to the game. It's evolution. Everything has to evolve.
Right.
But you see, tapes of Tom Brady taking big time hits. He took some big time hits. He's a tough quarterback. So
did you see that?
Yes.
Did you see that hit with when he played for New England?
Yes.
Early in his career with Nate Clemens, obliterated him.
Yes.
He was the first one up.
Yes, he was the first one up, and the quarterback who was the one who went to the NFL, if you will, to try to get the rules changed was not Tom Brady. It was Drew Brees. That's the guy that definitely benefited from the rules changes there with the 4,000 and 5,000 yard.
All the quarterbacks today, since 2010, they've all benefited.
But I think Brady could have played in the 80s, just like I think when people say, well, Jordan, he couldn't have played today. Oh, are you serious? The physicality of the game today compared to what he played in, and people go,
Jordan would still be playing.
Jordan would still be playing, scoring 50 points a game.
No, I don't think. I think Tom Brady would have had extreme success. I think it would have been a little bit more. I think you would have had a little bit more parity, because every year there was a superstar team, and then you kind of fell off. Do I think he wins 6, 7 championships? Probably not, but he would have tremendous success back then because let's be honest, Pete, that you didn't pass the ball as much back then, except if you were a Dan Marino. And, most teams were a running team and they played defense. But let me tell you something, the physicality of the game, it made you think before you were going to throw a ball.
Absolutely.
It really did.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I think Joe Montana would agree with you too, because he gets hurt in that playoff game. I believe it's the NFC Championship game.
Where that's Joe Theismann, what it's like getting hit low.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor did a number.
Taylor.
Yeah, there's
that was nasty. I've seen that highlight before, and I don't even want to see it again. It's gross.
I mean,
it's flat out nasty.
It is absolutely nasty. So we had a question tonight for Bucs fans out there. Who do you want the Bucs to pursue, Trevor? And we'll let you go. We'll go ahead and get a second call in if you want.
Jamie, I'm on mute right now.
I said this a few weeks.
Do me a favor.
I want Myles Garrett,
and
I don't care if we got to give 2 first-round picks. Especially, I mean, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment.
Correct.
But at the same time, did you see that defensive line from Philadelphia?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you have to give up 2 first-round picks, a lot of people would say, well, you give up 2 first-round picks, and then you're giving up players, and then you're going to have to re-sign them. Listen, you don't know if those first-round picks are going to work out. Case in point, JTS. I think Jason Light's done a hell of a job when it comes to drafting, but if you're looking at edge rushers, it's big-time question mark.
In fairness, you know what?
Well, wait a minute now. Noah Spence comes to mind. JTS comes to mind. Yaya Diaby. I think he is developing. If he could stay healthy there. Chris Braswell, second-round pick. He didn't make – I mean, it's tough for rookies to make that transition. And then furthermore, if you're picking at 19, you're not going to get the top player in that draft. You're going to have to trade up any way it goes. So why even do that? Why not go for somebody like Gerald McCoy said? You know that what Garrett is going to bring to the table. You know what Trey Hendrickson's going to bring to the table. Hell, and Micah Parsons is on that table, which he may, because nobody knows what the hell is going on with the Dallas Cowboys and Brian.
Micah Parsons on the table.
If he's on the table, then you definitely have to look at giving premium picks up. And if you have to give up a player, if you have to give up premium picks, I'm doing it. Because, again, that championship window is open. Are you feeling the same way? You go with Josh Sweat and don't give up picks. You go with a Chase Young, which is Harry's suggestion off here, and I know he wants to talk about that. Or do you go for one of these big guys in a Myles Garrett, a Hendrickson, or somebody like that? Who would you go for?
I'm going Myles Garrett. No disrespect to none of those other guys, especially like a Chase Young. I think he's extremely overrated. I mean, he's been on 3 different teams in the past 3 years.
Correct.
So obviously those other teams didn't really feel like he was that guy. And even when he played for the Commanders, when I seen him play, I wasn't really impressed. He had like a nice rookie year. He was pretty decent with 9 sacks. I mean, 9 sacks, like I think we have that already on our roster.
Yeah.
And with Michael Parsons, he's a great athlete. He has the potential to be a Hall of Famer, but the thing
best
about
linebacker in football,
Parsons, I feel like he's like that school yard, that school kid bully. He'll feast on the little guys, but when you play against the dominant guys, he kind of disappears. Wow. In my personal opinion, I've seen him feast on the Carolina Panthers. Okay, their offensive line was terrible.
Sure.
I've seen him feast on the lesser tier teams, and then when it's playoff time and when it's against the better teams, the San Francisco 49ers completely owns them.
Well, maybe to that point, there's not enough around him with the Dallas Cowboys, and you put him in that defense with the Vita Vea, with the Yaya Diaby, with the Kalijah Cansey at that point, then it takes the pressure off of them because you can't double on everybody. So maybe
that's true.
I mean, that's what I'm looking at, and I'm not making excuses because there have been things I've talked about with his effort. Is he more focused on podcasting? Is he more focused off the field? And he talks about politics and this and that. Is he more focused in that and not focused on football? Well, maybe a change of scenery will have some type of effect on him, if you will, in a good way, where honestly, he knows that he could win a championship with the Bucs, because you don't know that with the Dallas Cowboys right now. They're just signing checks at this point. And as long as Skeletor, aka Jerry Jones, is in place there and in charge of the Dallas Cowboys, they're not winning a championship. It's just like Stu Sternberg. He's the owner of the Rays. They're never winning a World Series. Sorry to tell you, they're not going to, because he doesn't spend money. Jerry Jones spends way too much money and signs some stupid players and coaches and stuff like that.
He got the most overrated quarterback on his roster.
Well, there you go, Dak Prescott.
I want to ask the caller a question.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
You want Myles Garrett? You'd like to see him on a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Can't blame you. A lot of teams would love to see a Myles Garrett, but at what cost? It's going to cost you at least one single player. So this is a 2-part question for you, and I want you to think about it for a second. What player are you giving up that's going to satisfy Cleveland to get him, and how many draft picks do you think it's going to be?
Okay, well, I know. Let me answer the draft pick question first. I know from a bare minimum, just to even have a conversation about it. If I'm the GM, if I'm Jason Light right now, and I'm contacting the Cleveland Browns general manager right now, and we're specifically talking draft picks to answer that part of the question first.
Yeah. I
know it's going to at least start with 2 first-round picks, bare minimum.
3.
I understand that.
Well, listen now. Dinah Rossini, who's come out with ESPN,
2 possibly.
There's 2 and possibly a 3rd, or maybe there's a first-round pick and 2 thirds. Are you willing to give up a first-round pick?
That'll never get that done.
I don't care.
A first and 2 thirds would never get that job done.
Well, how about first and 2 seconds? You give up a second this year and a second next year. Is it worth it?
It's worth it, but that's not going to happen. Multiple sources have already confirmed that they're wanting at least 2 to 3 first-round picks, and they're looking for a top-tier player. So what top-tier player does Tampa have, especially on defense?
We're talking top tier.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a top tier player. They're not taking prospects.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say defense. I would say offense. This has been thrown
No,
out there.
it's a
White.
defensive player they're looking for.
Well, Jamel Dean comes to mind.
Okay.
I mean, because they could have problems with Denzel Ward, and this is the other connection here because Ward has come out. Trevor, thanks a lot for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Trevor. That was great.
Great call. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Denzel Ward has come out and said in so many words, if Garrett gets traded, then maybe he doesn't want to stay with the Cleveland Browns either. So maybe they need Jamel Dean. You trade a couple premium picks. Let's go out to the phone lines. What's your name? Where you calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Louis from Massachusetts.
What's going on, Louis? First time
caller, Louis?
First time caller, yes, sir.
All right, man. Good stuff.
Happening, Louis?
Good stuff, man.
What's going on, guys? So I just figured I'd chime in on this conversation with the Buccaneers and Myles Garrett. I actually just finished a show. I do a show where we cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I had kind of been beating on this drum a lot, but it wasn't really for Myles Garrett.
Time out. You cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I've been a diehard Bucs fan since 1995.
Way to go.
Love that. We love that here on the Evolution. I've been a fan since 1988, 1989.
Oh, wow.
Long time I've been covering this team.
I remember the first game.
Yeah, well, I know you do. I know you do. And it's always cool to.
I was a kid, man.
And I believe this is on Instagram Live here, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Well, you're always welcome here on the Evolution. In fact, we'll have to get you on video sometime. But go ahead, share your thoughts on the Myles Garrett situation, or who else would you like to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pick up in free agency in this offseason?
So, in my opinion, here's the thing. A lot of people, like I've been hearing from a lot of people, oh, we don't really want to give up that much draft capital. This, that, and the third, and Jason Light likes to hold on to these picks. But here's my opinion: you're in win now mode, but
Correct.
You have to be smart about it.
Yeah,
and we do have a Super Bowl window because guys like, Levante David coming back, that he's probably on the fence. He's probably thinking, all right, what are they going to do? Because in all reality, the offense is fine. The offense is fine outside of what are you going to do with Chris Godwin? I believe you bring back Chris Godwin.
Okay.
The defense is a big problem, and it was a reason why we didn't further advance in the playoffs. I like Myles Garrett, but I don't believe in giving up big draft capital for Myles Garrett. I get it. He's one of the best defensive ends in the league, but we don't really need a defensive end. And I'll tell you why. We need an edge rusher. We need somebody to come off the edge. They try to bring back Shaquille Barrett.
That's what he's going to do. Pardon, with all due respect, sir. But as a defensive end, he is the edge rusher for this football team, especially in the scheme of play.
And even Garrett here, Louis, has been asked about it, about playing in a 3-4 defense or 4-3 defense, and he said, I'm open to it. He said this at Radio Row. So if
Myles Garrett could stick his hand in the dirt,
yes,
and rush from the edge or rush from the outside like an old Richard
and again,
did with
I'm
his
going
hands
to put
up.
this out there because a lot of people will say, well, the reason why you don't bring Garrett in is because he's not going to cover running backs. Listen, the reason why Todd Bowles does some of that stuff is because he doesn't have the horses in order to run the defense he wants to. So he has to compensate in some way. And listen, if he has Garrett, who is a guy that's had 7 straight double-digit sack seasons, you bring him in here, you don't necessarily have to do all that stuff that you had to do because now you have the guys who can get after the quarterback, much like you saw with the Philadelphia Eagles against Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl 59.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But my thing is, like I said, I really like Myles Garrett. But, I mean, you're going to give up a lot for him. Exactly to what you just said. The guy's been very consistent every year.
Yeah.
In my opinion, there's a different guy out there that I think the Buccaneers should be all in.
Who would that be?
And you have to go after Max Crosby. I think what he puts on tape, what he puts on tape, even hurt, that guy's giving you 110%. I mean, this is a guy that's going to be 26 or 27 years old.
He's a little younger.
You know what I'm saying?
He's going to cost the same, guys. He's going to literally cost the same. The only thing it's not going to cost as much is going to be the money out of pocket that Myles Garrett's going to command. He's going to get the exact same draft capital as a Myles Garrett, primarily because of his age. Why aren't we talking about Young? Seriously, why aren't we talking about someone that's not going to cost you the draft capital? It's going to give you 10 or 12 sacks. Let me be really clear. Any premium edge rusher that they bring in with this defense, with Vita Vea in the middle, because Vita Vea commands a double team on every single play, whether it's run or pass. That man creates it and leaves your defensive ends and linebackers in man coverage or to be able to rush to the quarterback. I'm telling you, man, you don't need a Myles Garrett. You don't need a Max Crosby. You hold on to your draft capital and you turn around, you get that next tier down. Let me tell you something. I'd rather get 3 or 4 players to make this defense great, not good. Great. You get 3 or 4 players in this defense, you solidify that secondary, and you can turn around and spread that love out financially. This Tampa Bay Buccaneer team will be in the Super Bowl next year if they follow that program. You go out and blow the bank and you run 3 draft picks out of your place and you're giving up a player to give all that money to one player? No, sir. And let me tell you another thing. They were not in a win now situation, Peter. I'm surprised you didn't catch that because people are not talking about it. Since last year, it's been quietly known that the team was building. They just so happened to be able to win these divisions and go ahead and get into the playoffs.
And that's
I'll tell
my
you what.
point. They're not building anymore. And going back to Louis'
You're
point,
right. But how about 3 players, Pete? Wouldn't you love to see 3 or 4 players come over here for that kind of money?
I think you got it. I think if you get Myles Garrett, it takes the pressure off of your secondary at that point. You can explore either restructuring or trading Jamel Dean at that juncture. And then on top of it, I still believe that you do have a linebacker on this team. And I get it. Levante David could retire. KJ Britt is a free agent, so you're not sure. But Savassier Dennis, if he can stay healthy, I do envision that this team still has plans for him. So everybody's saying middle linebacker, corner. I think you automatically get better when, once again, you get one of those players like Crosby. I love Crosby. I mentioned Crosby on this show. And because of the relationship, Louis, that the Bucs team and Jason Line has with John Spytek, who now is the new general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, it's certainly possible. But I think you could make a case to give up 3 first-round picks for Crosby because simply
I don't think they're going to give up 3 first-round picks. I
Well,
don't think
he's younger. He's younger.
Well, yeah, he's younger.
Right.
But in my opinion, like if it's me, like this is the good thing. There is possibilities out there. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
With especially talks with, I don't know about Micah Parsons. I mean, there's a lot of baggage that comes with that. But now you do have a Myles Garrett. You do have Sweat. You do have a Max Crosby. So there's options. But if it's me, I'm calling the Raiders and I'm giving up a 1. I'm giving up a 3, and I'm also giving up Rachaad White. And the reason why I say that is because Bucky Irvin is running back 1. Sean Tucker has proven that he can run the football right behind Bucky. Running backs are you can find those. You can find those guys in the draft, and I think that intrigues the Raiders to make that trade because now you're getting a dynamic player in Rachaad White. I just think for me, because I'm very passionate about the Bucs, and I think for someone like me, that swagger that Baker Mayfield brings to the offense, I feel like Max Crosby brings that same intensity and that same swagger to that defense, and I feel like that defense needs a guy like Max Crosby to come off the edge and completely wreck the like. Everybody was so high on JTS. I always said JTS was all gas, no brakes. I've never seen somebody so talented like him and just never wrap up a quarterback and never get the sacks.
Well, because he was a tweener, okay? He was a tweener. And you made a comment about Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett was the best guy to almost get the sack, okay? Yeah. Tampa Bay Rays in the back room. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and shit fights. Let's make that really clear, okay? And Shaq Barrett, I respect what he did. He had a couple of decent seasons. He put pressure on the quarterback, but he lacked the talent of actually getting to the quarterback. And that's what the problem's been with this team. You know what? You bring up some compelling arguments, but I have another question for you. Of course, Tampa would give up a 1st and a 3rd and a Rachaad White, but do you think the Raiders are going to let him go for that? Zero chance. There's too many other teams that are going to be vying for these services. Well, that's what I'm saying.
But also Crosby would control, and we'll go out to Ray in just a moment. Crosby
does he have control?
I believe he does have some say in where he's going to go. And then on top of it, once again, that relationship with Spytek and Light, you're exactly right. Any team would be out there, but you know, it's
and
up.
Brady.
That's it. Brady also. So
they owe us a favor, man. They're poaching a lot of our guys, man.
Well, they do. They definitely
owe us a favor.
Yes.
But I mean, for me, honestly, I just think to see a guy like Crosby on that Todd Bowles defense, that's like Todd Bowles is like, for me, I think that he would instantly, like, the impact he would make on that defense. And a lot of people are not really talking about Savassier Dennis. One thing I will say is this. Savasio Dennis, when he was healthy and in there, that man can hit. He was physical and he was good. And I think, again, if you bring in a guy like Crosby, I think that intrigues Levante David to come back to the Buccaneers, because a lot of people, people outside the Tampa Bay market, they just see Levante, oh, you know, he's going to be 36 or 35, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But Levante David was playing like he was 26 this year.
Yes,
he hasn't really lost a step. And like I said, maybe the statistics weren't really there, but I mean, look who it was on that defense. The defense was constantly hurt. They had nobody on the inside. KJ Britt really is terrible in coverage. But I'm just saying, I think you bring in a guy like Crosby, it really takes the pressure off the defensive backs. You know, we've seen it. Like, why was Tampa's defensive backs, guys like Brian Kelly and all them, why were they so good? Because Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp, Greg Spires, Anthony McFarland, these guys were getting to the quarterback, and you rush the quarterback. And when you rush the quarterback, it throws off timing, and you create, what's the key word here? Turnovers. Turnovers is what this defense was missing. And that's all I got.
Well, Louis,
hold on, Louis. Before you hang up, I have $1 million question. I really appreciate the call tonight. That was great.
Yes.
Because you have a real heavy New England accent. I am dying to know, how the hell did you become a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan?
Yeah, tell us about this. Yeah,
I'll tell you what. You talk about peer pressure. I mean, you're supposed to say no to drugs. You're supposed to say no to everything if it doesn't say Red Sox or Patriots.
So a lot of people are very surprised that I became a Buccaneers fan. So when my father's no longer with us, when my father was here, he was very diehard, you know, Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics, and all that. And
Bruins, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Bruins. I actually root for the Lightning. I'm a Lightning fan. So when I was growing up, we were poor. We didn't I was born in '87 in the early '90s. For the younger crowd that's listening, we had cable TV with a box and all that stuff. We didn't have that. So whatever the TV picked up, whatever those antennas picked up, we picked up. My father used to watch a lot of college football. And at the time, the Hurricanes and the Seminoles were always on TV.
Yes, they were.
And I remember, and I would watch those games, and I'd watch number 10 on the Florida State Seminoles, Derek Brooks. And I was like, wow, I really like that guy. And then I'd watch Warren Sapp with the Hurricanes. And I didn't have like a favorite team, you know, like I knew my father was a big Patriots fan, but the Patriots were garbage. They weren't very good.
Yes, they were.
And the uniforms were terrible. And I was just like, I don't really like those guys. And, you know, and I would go to school and I see Cowboys, Steelers, Eagles stuff. And I was like, I don't really like that neither. And then we were watching the draft, and Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp both got drafted to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
He fell in love with the Pirates and pewter pants.
Yeah. 90. And then I was just like, the creamsicles is for me. That's my team. And ever since then, 95, man, that's been my team. And, you know, living in Massachusetts, it's been tough because, you know, like you don't really see like a lot of Buccaneer stuff.
No, you see zero Buccaneer stuff up there.
Zero, but I will tell you a guy who used to live in Massachusetts who now covers the Bucs on a full-time basis, who was coming out of Boston at that time, J.C. Allen of Sports Illustrated. J.C. Allen started off on this show, and he was a Tom Brady fan, of course, when Brady comes here. So it's possible. That's what I love about Bucs fans. You know, it's not just in Tampa. It's not just in St. Pete. It's not
it's growing.
It's growing. It's all around the place. Yes.
Even right now in Massachusetts, like I see a lot more like Buck stuff.
Yeah.
And when Brady came down, I actually went to Brady's last game as a Patriot, and I have the proof. My girlfriend is a Patriots fan. I'm secretly converting her into a Bucs fan.
There you go. Good man.
Evans.
I always like this guy.
She loves Mike Evans, but we were at Tom Brady's last game as a Patriot against the Titans, and I'm neutral, man. I'm wearing a black Buccaneers hoodie with a black Bucs hat, and people know, I don't know, Foxborough, like the Patriot fans are starting to become like Eagle fans. They're becoming classless a little bit. They're like, why the hell are you wearing that? I'm like, because I'm a Bucs fan. Duh. They're like, oh, you guys suck. You guys ain't going nowhere. I don't know why you're here. I said, well, I'm just here to scout my future quarterback. Because if you guys lose this game, I promise you right now, he's coming to Tampa. I'm just talking.
Whoa.
Love it, man.
But I predicted it, though. And I still have the video on my phone. I even looked at my girlfriend. I said, I'm telling you right now, I have a funny feeling you guys are losing this game. He's getting booted out of New England, and he's gonna become a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And sure as hell, he became a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And
that's cool, man.
I seen a lot of Brady jerseys around. And one day I was out wearing a Bucco Bruce hat, and kid came up to me. He's like, real quick before I go, real quick. He comes up to me. He's like, yeah, Buccaneers fan, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, Tom Brady, right? I'm like, no, not Tom Brady. I'm an actual Buccaneers fan. He's like, yeah, I like the Buccaneers now too. I said, why? Oh, I like Tom Brady. I'm like, all right, that's cool. He's like, what? I can't be a Bucs fan? I'm like, to be honest with you, no, I don't think so. And not for one guy. I said, if Mike Evans left the Buccaneers and he went somewhere else, I'm not going to like that team. I'd root for him.
Right.
But I'm not going to put on a different team's colors. I'm a Bucs fan.
This guy's got some really good points. I'd love to have this guy on the show one
We
time.
got to get you on the show sometime.
Well,
I've seen you there.
I'm open for it. But I told the kid straight out, I'm like, listen, dude, I'm like, no, you can't be a Bucs fan.
Okay.
I said, you weren't there for those, that 58-14 blowout on Thursday Night Football against the Falcons. You weren't there for those seasons. And I was like, how old are you? He's like, oh, I'm 24. I said, all you known is winning.
That's it.
Take your first losing season as a man.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't be a Bucs fan? I'm like, absolutely not.
You got to go through the losing.
I love this guy.
Through the blackouts.
Spoken like to a true New Englander.
Well, listen, he's got to go ahead and promote your podcast, and we'll get you on the evolution of sports talk television next week. What is your podcast again?
It's the Frozen Pirate podcast. So I do a show called Around the NFL.
Okay.
We have a couple of guys. It's every Wednesday at 8:30. We kind of just talk about our teams, and we kind of talk about everything that's kind of going around the NFL, obviously, and it's very unfiltered. And stuff like that. And also I cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do off-season talk for the Tampa Bay Bucs, kind of sporadically. It's slow down right now, but you can catch me on Instagram, the Frozen Pirate Podcast, on YouTube, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Like and subscribe to that. Greatly appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to jumping on with you guys and doing something with you guys.
Absolutely, Louis. We love to have you here. We love Buccaneer fans. We always love, bring the passion. You're exactly right. We say three things on this show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. And you also got a second call if you want to use it. All right, my friend?
All right, perfect. Thank you, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, Louis, deuces, brother. Great call. Thanks for calling.
I want to go out to this guy, and then we got to go out to the comments here because I don't want to neglect the web heads here.
Before you go to your comments and we go out to Ray, I'll say hello. I'm going to do my pleasantries, and I'm going to have to fare adieu.
Adieu. Okay. All right, Lo. Let me go ahead and get his intro on.
Mr.
Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television, my friend. How you doing on a Wednesday night?
I'm doing good, but who doesn't want to have a beer with Louis now? I mean, come on, let's do this. What a great guy. Yeah, he's a pretty good guy. We definitely got to get him on the show. You guys got to get him on the show.
Louis is awesome, man. I like Louis.
Yeah, I like Louis too. All right, so you want to get out of here, Harry, or do you want to read these comments? What do you want to do here?
I wanted to say hello to Ray.
Okay. All right.
Hello, Mr. Harry.
Hello, Mr. Ray. We're neighbors, and I never get to see you.
Literally.
There you go.
Literally.
Okay, man, I'm out of here.
I'm straight up the suck right there.
Good to see you, neighbor.
You know what? You know how you eliminate it? It became Harry and Ray here. I'll bring him back. Oh, hey, what's up, buddy? Don't worry. I'll put you back in your spot.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. All right.
I take care
I'm
of
glad
that.
I'm on top now.
Oh, geez. Really, I mean, you had to go there with that nonsense. It's exactly what you get.
Yo, Peter, read a couple of comments and then let Harry get out of here.
All right, so we're going to read some comments here. Roger Shu, the tribal troll.
Acknowledge me.
Says first, let's go out to Cornell. So happy Patrick Mahomes lost. I think a lot of fans feel like that.
Did you see that?
Top podcast in 2024, the Sports Web. Yes, I did.
That was a good one. With Chobo.
Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Oh, yeah.
You said go Bucs.
Let's go. How about them Bucks, baby?
You said go Bucs, so we got to do it.
Oh, God, Peter, you got your friggin' toys back. Will
I
you
did.
stop? I swear to God, I am going. Buddy, invite me over to the house. We're coming.
Oh, you guys are coming, and I'll lock the door because you're not going to mess with my sound effects. You're not. I got this laptop just locked down now, as Ray would say. Yeah, but who's not coming back? We get somebody else.
2 clips for that laptop. Trust me.
Oh, yeah, you do? Oh, okay. All right. Well, how about this?
I'm straight up the suck right there.
There you go. Sitton says, who is not coming back? I mean, the main free agents at this point that are on everybody's mind, and Ray, you can talk about this, Harry, you can talk about this, are Chris Godwin, which, he could be in high demand, even though he's coming off an injury. I don't necessarily think his value is going to be there, but he is still one of the top wide receivers in the league. And of course, Levante David and another player there, Ben Bredesen. So, Harry, how concerned are you with losing one or all those players we just talked about with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
You know, I learned not to be blasphemous to one Jason Light, probably arguably the best GM in all of football. I mean, let's
Yes.
just hand it to what he's done with this team.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned this year about Chris Godwin
Okay.
because I think they might use him, not because they don't want to sign him. They may use him to make this team better because they now realize he's expendable. Look at this offense in this past season without him being there, and he sustained that type of injury. Personally, I would love to see Chris Godwin stay as a Buccaneer, as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, but he could pick up some draft capital for some well-needed defensive help, right?
Yeah, I mean, I heard you guys talking earlier, especially talking earlier with Leo there, or not Leo, but Louis, about that outside rush. And as much as we didn't have that pressure, that outside lockdown defensive end, outside linebacker, fingers in the dirt, standing up pressure. One of the truest things about finding a Shaq Barrett, when we found that gem that was in Denver and we brought him in here and they didn't realize that he had actually learned how to play linebacker pretty well, is that you find that diamond in the rough. But if you're going to make that all in for whomever, because of whether it's a free agent or a trade or what you give up, and you're going to sign that, then you got to work it back to the $20 million at least that a Chris Godwin will get on the open market in 2025.
Yeah, it's a good point. And it just comes down to, what team could overpay him? Could the Jacksonville Jaguars overpay him? I mean, he's not going to be overpaid. If somebody's going to want to offer him $20 million, he definitely deserves it. But it's going to come down to
I don't think if he leaves, I don't think he's going to Jacksonville.
Well, a lot of people.
That's just my opinion.
Right.
There's other teams that are vying for his services.
Raiders. The Raiders are a possibility. I mean,
Raiders, Chicago, because they're going to have to get rid of Keenan Allen.
Sure.
Green Bay, because the uncertainty with the ACL, that one, what the hell's his name? The young man, the young wide receiver, the one from Plant City here, superstar.
Christian, the Tampa Tornado there. Christian, I'm trying to think of his name at this point. I can't.
But there's a lot of teams right now that are vying for the services for Chris Godwin, and I'll tell you right now, unless they break the bank completely for Chris Godwin, Jacksonville has zero chance to get it.
Well,
He'll
Harry,
probably go to a winner.
And I tell you, I love the narrative of Jacksonville breaking the bank to bring a Chris Godwin in, because if anybody knows how that rehab process was going throughout the entire season for Chris, it would be his Liam Cohen, his offensive coordinator. And you talk about you're looking to try to make a Trevor Lawrence a better quarterback, and having an insider, a slot receiver, is tough as nails. And also as a Bucs fan, if you do lose Chris Godwin, you keep him on a natural grass in Jacksonville. Jacksonville might be a lot of things, but they do have natural grass like down here. Like down here at Raymond James. So, I mean, would Liam Cohen probably? Okay.
Oh my God.
It
Is it 10 o'clock?
It is 10 o'clock, my friend. All right, go ahead and promote yourself here. Harry, we'll get you out of here on that, man. We appreciate the time.
I want to say thank you to everybody that sent me all kinds of love, especially in the DMs through Facebook. I'm glad I was able to help you out, make a few dollars on her. I'm sorry about the under. I did go 6 out of 7 for the pick, but you can catch me here live Wednesday nights on the Sports Web with Peter Blake and sometimes Mr. Tampa Bay Ray. And that's it. I ain't got 3 things for you. I just want to always tell you, just keep your bets low and your returns high. Thank you so much. Much love. And you know what? Thanks, FanDuel. Absolutely love the jersey. Have a great day.
Love stuff. I love good stuff there, Mr.
Love
Harry
you,
the Greek. Appreciate you as always. All right, we'll see you soon.
See you, brother.
All right, good stuff there from Harry the Greek. We'll come back in here with Best of the Bay's Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. We'll continue to read the comments. And again, open phone lines if you want to talk about it. What did you think about Super Bowl 59? Give your initial thoughts. Philadelphia Eagles with their pass rush. And then the question for the night for Bucs fans, who would you pursue? Would you go after Josh Sweat? Would you go after Myles Garrett or Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby's been thrown out there? But let me go ahead and go to you, Tampa Bay Ray. We talked about Myles Garrett. I know how you feel about draft picks. Would you pursue him, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, or Josh Sweat in free agency?
Any one of those, because the argument's so easy to make, to say, yeah, that's exactly what was missing with this defense. Because And it goes always back to a great front end makes up for a weak back end. But if that's the pursuit of this, if Jason Light feels that this room, this locker room, this defense, and Todd Bowles as your head coach and a defensive coordinator feels that you need that for this team, because we're that close, and it's not going to be a Servachier Dennis or as you know, Kalijah Cansey still working with the Vea, and also Sac Avenue. I mean, over there on the left side. So if you're willing to make that commitment, any one of those four, but I hate giving up the draft picks. But the thing is, it would be Myles Garrett that you give any of those draft picks up for. And I think that's probably, like you said, Peter, the open shut case before we even start talking about whether Myles Garrett would help improve this defense.
And I always think of, Simeon Rice, you didn't have to give up draft picks, but you made a big free agent splash. You got him, and he was the missing piece. And, Garrett may be the missing piece. Max Crosby may be the missing piece. Even a Josh Sweat, even with 8 sacks, his performance, speed and power, what he did to Patrick Mahomes, he's going to get paid. But those guys are not cheap. And the Bucs have the money. They'll be able to, get some of that money and restructure some things. Right now, they're looking at $4 million or something like $2 million, according to Sporadic. They're like $4 million over. But again, I always go back to it. I feel like, the salary cap is like the national debt. If you want to, increase some money, get some money.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
To do that. Yeah. All right.
Peter, let me ask you real quick, then move on to more comments.
Sure.
Would you, regardless of whether it's straight draft picks or a free agent, whatever, who would you like to see come in with this Buccaneers defense of those ones we've talked about with Trey Hendrickson or a Sweat?
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, I'll go full screen. I believe it's Myles Garrett, because again, you look at the consistency factor. He's going to come in here. He's going to solidify your defensive line. He's also going to have help. You get him in here. You have Vita Vea. You have Kalijah Cansey. But furthermore, because he has that veteran presence, he can teach those guys like Cansey, like Yaya Diaby, to be true professionals. It's exactly what Garrett is. And then on top of it, the relationship with Baker Mayfield. I think it's so interesting because they started out together, and who doesn't want to see them finish together and possibly a Super Bowl? I like to see Myles Garrett, no matter what it takes, get it done. Jason Light and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's what I would say. All right, so let's go back out to the comments there. Tom Banner says Swifty still in mourning. Read the article. Absolutely, Roger Shue. Thank you. Herald 2025, Chicago till I die, says Tom. Hey, Peter. Hey, Harry. Happy February. It's a new season. The Bucs are undefeated. LFG. That's what I love about it, because, we get sad because there's no more football games, but then it starts all over again. People go, well, football season's over with. No, not so fast, my friend. Not on this show. We talk free agency. We talk, draft. We talk scouting combine and everything else, prospects. It is so much information that we try to provide you here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. And then on top of it, you can push the reset button, right? It's like waking up out of a bad dream. You push the alarm. You try to get up. You get up to that call from Ray Kennedy. He goes, hey, you're doing a show tonight?
Come on. Not fair.
I'm doing a show tonight. Yes.
Not fair.
It's a good call, though, because,
Okay.
I didn't necessarily, I got to wake up the next day. So you start off your day with,
By the way, you took it like a champion. You really did. You answered the phone. You didn't sound mad at me like you usually do when I call you early like that. So props to you, brother. You're coming along.
I am. I'm trying. I'm trying to. I nearly imploded today at Policy Scout as I was talking to my daily lovers there, the widows of older men with Gertrude and Esther and Winifred there, just screaming their lungs out, telling me not to call them, telling me they hate my guts, and they hope that when they come to my house that not only I die, but my dog dies and everybody else in the house dies. Yeah.
Imagine though, they're not evolved like you, Peter. Like they haven't experienced the evolution, if you will.
Yes, and they tell me how disrespectful I was because I'm trying to save them money, and I try to get over it. And what I think about at 2:30, 3 o'clock, as there are about 10 years of my life just coming off of me because of all the stress that's going to my heart and my mind, because my brain feels like it's about to melt. The Sports Web is tonight at 9 o'clock. So, and again, the 329,000 viewers on Facebook.
Shout out
Yes.
Well, shout out Andrew Davis, of course,
Yes.
our guy, and helping us look at these analytics and helping you see those numbers, even though you've seen the numbers all along, but
Yes.
seeing that number and those numbers, the analytics. So thank you. Shout out to Andrew Davis.
Well, it's a shout out to all the people that are a part of it. Shout out to Ray Kelly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Harry the Greek. Shout out to Andrew Davis. Shout out to Ralph Williams and Mark Mancini. We can show up, and TJ Reeves and Jason
Louis.
Powers, Paul Stewart and Louis, and
Paul
fans
Stewart.
that love the Bucs that are willing to tune in on February 12th, 2 days before Valentine's Day, which is another question out there. What do you love about sports? What do you love about being a Tampa Bay sports fan, as we put that out there on Facebook? So absolutely, Megan, the Bucs are undefeated. Love that attitude. I just think it was funny that the NFL has been pushing stop hate, and then the halftime show was nothing but hate towards one guy, which for good reason. If it's true, just thought it was funny. Yeah, it's never been confirmed it's true. I get it. It's a great song. We love the song there, Not Like Us, but it's never been, and that's why he didn't say it in the first place. He took out pedophile because he's being sued by Drake. So I just thinking about that. Everybody's like, yeah, they're dancing on Drake's grave. Okay, but has he ever been confirmed of this? And this is our society. Like, they love this.
This is the 2020 odd getting street cred or the fights back and forth with the way it used to be. It was just, taking a 9 to go up against people and having these battles. But I'll be honest, Tristan, we plays nothing but Kendrick Lamar, and I love his music, and it was a really tight set, and I wasn't looking inside at all the politics. I understand that it exists because that's the theater of the absurd, or that's the theater that you're looking to go for, and we're still talking about it 4 days after the thing. No, it's never going to be Prince, like you talked about at the opening of the show. It's never. That's the standard factor for probably the best Super Bowl halftime show we've all seen from a soul standpoint. But at the same time, I thought it was a pretty tight set. But
I do too.
I'm not into all that.
I did too. I know there was messages there. I know what was trying to be, and I will say this: I don't think people are trying to look for a message when they're watching a Super Bowl halftime show. They're just trying to enjoy it. But again, that's his right. That's his freedom. That was what was given to him by Jay-Z and the National Football League. They put it out there. If people didn't like it, you could always turn it off. That's the great thing about it. I just think people are driven away by the message. They just want to party. They want to have a good time. They want to have all that stuff. It's crazy to say that, but that's what it comes down to. Roger says halftime show was horrible. Dave says, Harry, I respect the hell out of you, but you're still allowed to have an opinion no matter what your skin color. Roger says Muppets commercial was great. Okay.
Acknowledgement.
Or let's go out to Dave here.
What was your favorite commercial, Pete?
I didn't have any. I didn't think there was any great Super Bowl commercials. I just think there are so many commercials during the year that now it's so oversaturated. I thought the Seal commercial with the Seal. Seal.
That was the one. It was
right.
Seal's a Seal. I mean, that was the lockdown. Right. And I didn't remember if it was. And someone said, "Yo, it was Mountain Dew." I thought I was like, it was Coke. Was it Pepsi? That's, as an old man, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, and that's the commercial banged, but what you were selling, I really wasn't interested. So
I mean, was one of the worst Super Bowl commercials. Roger Shue says 66 is Harry's age. Laugh out loud. Jeff Stossi says Vic Fangio's was the real MVP of that game. I mean, you got to give him credit to what he was able to do. But again, it starts out with the sacks. It starts out with turning the game around with 22-year-old celebrating his birthday, Cooper DeJean from Iowa there with the pick six. And then he also had Zach Bond, who they brought into free agency, who paid dividends, intercepting Patrick Mahomes there at the 20-yard line of there. I mean, those turnovers are so key to any game, and we continue to just harp on it. And it sounds like a broken record, but if you take care of the ball, and we've seen it happen a couple of years ago when the Eagles were dominating the Chiefs, and then it turns around, the momentum changes because Jalen Hurts fumbles the ball. You give a second opportunity to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they take them from there. And Hurts had an interception, but overall, being the MVP, very clean game, making all the throws when he needed to, had plenty of time. Saquon Barkley wasn't even a real impact. And I was surprised that they were going to be able to win, but that's how dominant they were in those trenches, not only defensively, but offensively.
And the thing is, they go like, I loved as a Buccaneers fan, but as a fan of football history, and Harry the Greek was talking about the 85 Chicago Bears, and then I'm thinking about the 2000 Ravens, but the fact that they go, you went back to screen, we good?
We're going back to Jim Sutton here.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell is the matter with you?
Let's go out to Jim Sutton here on the Evolution. Welcome to the Sports Web.
How you doing? So I like the Super Bowl because I rooted for the Eagles because I want the running back get a ring
Okay.
and the
Yeah.
quarterback on the Eagles to get a ring.
Correct.
So they both got their ring. So we got that over with.
Okay.
I like the halftime show
Okay.
because I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan and I'm a Drake fan. I was gonna see who was gonna win that battle.
Do you hate?
And
Do
we know
you
who
do you
won the
hate
battle,
Drake?
right?
Do you hate Drake now? I mean, do you think Kendrick won the battle? Of course, but is there a part of you in the back of your mind that says, well, yeah, he's saying all this stuff about Drake being a pedophile and liking minors and all this other stuff, and that's a different show, a different rabbit hole. But none of this stuff has been confirmed, and even Drake's people are suing Kendrick, and a lot of people didn't think he was going to do the song. I knew exactly he was going to do the song when he teased it. Does it kind of give you cause for pause, if you will, with none of these allegations actually confirmed? I mean, does it take away from you liking Drake as an artist, if you will?
No, rappers are gonna say what they want to say. They grown men gonna say what they want to say. You can't tell them, can't stop them.
Okay,
it's their art.
Why would you stop them? That's what you want them to do.
It's the art. I guess the question I'm asking, I'm going to go full screen here, is the art lost if you're just making accusations that can't be proven? Because I remember, I'm an old school hip hop guy, where you threw this out there, and it was, some of that stuff most likely was true. And then, usually if it's not true, I don't really think it has any legs to stand on, if you will. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So there's been no proof of this. I mean,
right.
I'm just saying.
I don't know this.
Does it take away from the art, in your opinion?
I didn't hear the actual accusation. I just heard.
Well, the accusation is that Drake is a pedophile and he likes this and that and the other thing. And I get it; it's a rap battle, but those are pretty serious allegations, if you will.
It's also because of Puff Daddy. It's banging right now, so it automatically moves to the front. I didn't hear him actually call him out and say that this has actually occurred or this was done.
He did. He says it in the song.
Well, look, Kendrick Lamar said he's doing it for the culture now.
Yes,
you got to remember, it's black culture. So
right.
I mean, everybody's joining in, so it ain't like it's just our culture now. It's America's culture.
Yeah,
so that's why he did the American flag, brought Uncle Sam out.
Right.
So
Samuel
I
Jackson.
understood it.
Right. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just thought it was interesting because
it didn't hit like that for me. It's weird. I didn't see that.
We'll see. There you go. That's the
Uncle Sam. Drake made a video and said, "Bring your uncle out."
Mm.
I did not know that, Jim.
He had him do Uncle Sam.
Oh my God!
How?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the next thing? What was the very next thing about that happened that you're like?
Well, they did a PlayStation game board. And they
the game.
Yeah.
And he said the game was over at the end.
Game was over. They did Squid Games, Rich Are Eating the Poor. They brought out Serena Williams, who did the
Serena Williams went out. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and so did SZA. Who
she looked good, by the way. Yeah,
they did. I mean, they all went in on this. It's all top 10 petty, if you will. But I think
they real petty.
They're real petty.
Right?
real Richard Petty. Absolutely. Yes. All right, Jim. Let me ask you this question. What did you think? You like the Super Bowl? What do you think the Bucs should do in free agency? I know it's early, or in the offseason. Josh Sweat, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson. Those are the three choices. I'll even throw in Max Crosby at this point.
I do like Myles Garrett. Man, listen, I do whatever he need to do. I know he knows what he needs, so I like Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
of course. I mean, that's an easy pick, but
okay.
It depends on what we need to, what he needs to do to get his draft. If he wants to keep his draft picks, does he want to go after somebody young after college, or does he want to get a veteran in there? I mean, we do need a veteran, I think.
Somebody says, I got to read this. Petty, not petty. Yes. I'll clarify that, because then again, he didn't say, you notice he didn't say that word on the broadcast, which I knew he wouldn't if he was going to be sued, which, a lot of people were like, well, usually Drake shouldn't be suing him. Well, kind of a strong allegation there.
That's a bit, because part of the craft is I'll do anything to continue to put, the story up front, because at the end of the day, it's all about great entertainment. And he's
Yeah.
You remember
You
hitting
got
him
to
up.
remember the entertainment.
Remember hitting him up with Tupac saying that he slept with Biggie's wife. I mean, nobody knows that really happened or not, but that started the East Coast West Coast war. But it's just that right there. I mean, that was a serious allegation that can never be confirmed. They just saw a picture of it.
I think the craziest part of this is that it's Rock Nation. And they're the halftime. They do this, and at the end of the day, I'm already looking forward to give me who's going to perform next year. Who's going to perform next year in San Francisco? I want to see 60s halftime. And so at the end of the day, is the NFL like it's good because it fills that 12-minute need while everyone needs time to get on their phones and make those bets and do those second half parlays.
Who would you like to see, Jim, next year perform in the halftime? And then I'll let you answer that question about what the Bucs should do.
You said who you think he's going to bring next year?
Yeah, who would you like? Who would you like? Who if Jim's son?
It's got to be Drake. It's got to be Drake.
Who would you have at halftime next year?
And where is it going to be at?
San Francisco.
So Drake,
it works. Get you a rock and roll. Who's out there in San Francisco?
I would say that the number one band for me, and if they miss this, then it needs to be an investigation. It's Metallica. Metallica needs to be the halftime show.
Yeah, get a little bit of that.
Yes.
And then
whatever else. He's open to it. He's not like, oh, we can't do Metallica because they're not
Rock
relevant.
Nation, they do. He does. Yeah, he does.
Right.
He does a little rock and roll.
Right. Well, I like to see a little bit of. I like to see some Metallica next year. All right. So Jim, what do the Bucs do? So Myles Garrett, you have faith in Jason Light. What direction are you going, my friend?
Yeah, Myles Garrett. Who else you say?
Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Josh Sweat in free agency, which won't cost you any picks, and possibly Max Crosby.
What about Micah Parsons out of Dallas? What if Dallas? What if they're? I mean, just throw it out there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. Let him hunt, man. Let him do his fishing. He got
more. Yeah, let's rebuild this thing and let's get the Bucs. I'll give you talk about and Myles Garrett is the creme de la creme, but if it's Micah Parsons, maybe it's 2 1s and $8 million. John Gruden.
Hey, it paid off. A lot of people go, well, you wouldn't trade premium picks. So you wouldn't trade premium picks for John Gruden and win a Super Bowl? I think you would. You wouldn't trade premium
but it hurt us for a decade. I mean, that and Bruce Allen, because he ruined his team.
Is it worth it? Was it worth it?
Our first 37 was our first championship.
Sean Johnson, you traded two first-round picks. Was it worth it?
Yeah, Pete. We've had this argument.
Yes. All right, Jim. Appreciate.
He won the Super Bowl for us, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he traded 2 first-round picks for Keyshawn Johnson.
That's what it's about. Get that Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. The window is open. Make your move, Jim. Appreciate the time and the call. Use that second one if you want to, my friend. All right.
Take care, Jim.
All right. Good stuff there. Open phone line 727-255. 0391. It's 727-255-0391. So we'll continue to read these comments, take phone calls. As always, Christopher Cole. Hey, peeps. Tim, good evening, guys. Game on. The Eagles got the blueprint from the Bucs. Good comment.
Oh, yeah.
Elway, says Christopher Cole. Let's go out to the tribal troll.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to Roger Shue. Welcome to the Evolution.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, boss? How you doing?
Roger.
I'm good. First of all, I think that was the worst halftime show in the history of the Super Bowl.
History of the Super Bowl. Why was it the worst of all time, Roger Shue?
Well, because first of all, I couldn't understand a single word that he was saying.
There were moments, but yeah.
There were definitely some moments. I agree with you on that. Yes.
Yeah. And I thought the game was great. I was Eagles 100%.
Okay.
And
you want to see Metallica next year perform at halftime?
I would like that.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else you have in mind?
Where are they going to be at? San Diego?
San Francisco, not San Diego.
Levi Stadium. Yeah.
I got a lot of places I could go with that, but I'm not gonna.
Well, go for it.
No. It's I don't want to get political.
Oh, okay.
Roger, why wouldn't you though?
Trying to get political. I was trying to ask you what musical act you would like to have at the
musical act.
He's saying he's Wham. He says Wham. He thinks.
Let's see. Metallica, definitely. That's a yes. I would go with. I don't know. Maybe somebody country. They haven't had that.
Yeah. Morgan Wallen has been a suggestion out there. He's pretty popular right now. Morgan Wallen. Yeah.
I could go Morgan Wallen. I could go Jelly Roll.
Okay.
Throw me some
Oh,
Post
what do you
Malone
guys
on the side. with a little Shabuzi. I mean, tell me, you guys, did you watch the Grammys? Did you see Shabuzi? I mean, do you see how built that guy is? He's like 6'5". He looks like he's the middle linebacker for the New York Football Giants. Have you seen this guy? And he's a great entertainer.
I just think it's tough to have an act like Shabuzi because he only has one song at this point.
No, he's got several songs. He's got a new song.
Well, you got to have a catalog.
Definitely 100% do not want Beyonce.
No Beyonce for you.
Come on.
No Beyonce because she did
no country Carter, whatever her shit is. No.
Well, that's it, Roger. You're right.
All right, Roger.
Absolutely, that's a hard no.
Okay. Yes.
I don't know. We could go like retro. Go like somebody back from the 80s.
Conway Twitty.
Well, I don't think anybody's back from the 80s. Who are you thinking of here, Roger?
One of my personal faves, we could go like MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, and then Vogue all together.
Okay, you're talking about for Frisco, like 60. Yes, Roger. Now we're thinking outside the box.
Outside the box, baby.
Outside the box. I love you, Roger.
I don't know if that'll work.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a whole lot of people they could bring in.
All right. Good stuff, Roger. Appreciate the call, man.
Yeah,
what else?
Great show, guys.
Thank
and
you.
The whole Harry's jersey with the 66, that's actually Harry's age. He didn't want anyone to know that. That's why he'd want to bring it up.
Very good, Roger.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. All right. Good stuff, Roger.
Have a great night. Great show, guys.
Roger.
And congratulations again, Pete, on top podcast for 2024.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Good stuff there. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Got to keep my voice down because you got roommates there in the other room, so I don't want to wake them up.
I can read some voice if you need me. Just let me know.
Do you think with all the scrutiny with the referees and the Chiefs knowing that their offensive line held a lot, do you think that it put a lot of pressure on the offensive line knowing that the eyes were on them? It's a good point. I think, the first drive, again, a lot of people say, oh, here we go again. I just think the Eagles kicked their ass. And I think it comes down to penalties. The Eagles didn't allow the referees to make a controversial call or make a critical call in a critical time. They came out, they established the lead, they kept the lead, they kept the pedal to the metal, and that was the end of it. No more controversy.
Even though the game was already decided, though, there was that late in the third, or maybe toward the back end of the third quarter, where there was that contact to the face mask, to the helmet of Patrick Mahomes right in front of the umpire, and he ate that whistle. And I'm like, but the game felt like it was already decided at that time because Philadelphia was owning both sides of the ball.
Agree. So Mike D. Roche from Canada. Hey guys, what's going on with you, boss? DBs could hold wide receivers back in the 80s and 90s. Good stuff. Christopher Cole. In fact, they eliminated that rule because the Patriots were so physical with the greatest show on turf there with Ty Law going against, a guy like a Torrey Holt, of course, and Isaac Bruce. They were so physical where they shut down the Rams. And of course, the Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl because of that physicality. That's when the rule came into effect. Do you think because everybody was so offended by everything these days, that's why all the Super Bowl commercials have become so bland? Yes. And again, oversaturation. I think it's a wrestling reference, right? I mean, you love wrestling on Monday nights, but do you love wrestling on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday nights? Does it get a little bit overblown? I love it, but it kind of gets a little bit tiring. I think the same thing could be said with commercials. And then you're exactly right. Everybody's so PC these days, and everybody doesn't want to offend somebody.
Easy.
Yep. Christopher Cole says Garrett will probably have to be extended because the Browns need to get under the cap. Correct on that. He has 2, I believe, years left on at pretty reasonable salaries. But once again, he's most likely going to be in the neighborhood of being paid, over $35 million a year. But that's what you got to do to get a player like that. That's what you got to do. I don't think we have the money for Garrett, Richardson, or Crosby. Also bring back Godwin and David, fill a couple of other holes on defense because we need a linebacker too.
That was a good.
No, says Dave. That was a David. Go ahead. You want to respond to that?
No, I'm saying that was pretty solid because I'm not saying I'm against, because like earlier, the reason why I said that is because you and Harry were talking about the fact that was the most glaring need, that lockdown, Watt, Garrett, somebody you can count on. And at the end of and at the same time, you're talking about the fact that the way that Todd Bowles and Jason Light build this team is usually to find strengths in other places and not have to be committed to something like that to go for that one position. So I was just saying, David, it was a good comment because there's I'm not saying exactly two sides, but I think you're in the camp that commit all in, and I can't disagree with you, Pete, to say give whatever it takes to bring Myles Garrett in with this defense the way it played in 24 and what you expect in 25, and you're like, yeah, that's the darling, that's the story of the entire 2025 season. But there's also the people that are like, continue doing what you do, and then keep a Chris Godwin, and then find other ways to bring in that pressure, or Logan Hall, move him over in the way you got Kalijah and then Servachier. So I guess that's what I was saying. There's two sides of that fence.
Absolutely. Let's go out to Ed here. Any thoughts on talk of a new stadium? Buccaneers have one of the top 10 oldest venues in the NFL. We'll get another Super Bowl in Tampa without a new one. I think, they've done some improvements. The Glazers have not talked about that, unlike the other ownership in this town who has talked about it ad nauseum. Sorry.
What town? Whose town?
Is
it Hillsborough? Is it Pinellas? What are you talking about?
Please. In the
district of St. Petersburg.
Edge district, yeah. In the insanity, if you will, with that stadium situation. So I think eventually it'll be talked about, but right now the Glazers haven't talked about it. They made improvements to amenities there and Wi-Fi. So it could be.
But Pete, and here's the thing. We love, not just because you and I spend a lot of time in the press box at Raymond James, but we love this stadium. We love everything about it. You're not going to get a pirate ship in the next stadium, probably not. You're not going to be so bold as you were with Disney and back in the 90s when you did that.
The hell you won't. You better have a You better have a ship in that new stadium.
You would hope, but you can't just. Sometimes it doesn't. But what I'm saying is that I think everybody says the next stadium's going to be enclosed, right? You're going to build a big, like a beautiful stadium, like the Mercedes-Benz, Caesars, whatever it is in Atlanta there, Megatron's butthole, as Rick used to say. Little shout out to a guy. It's an inside thing. We'll figure that out later.
Jeez.
But I'm saying is that we know the next one's going to be. I'm not ready to go inside yet. I understand that's going to be the next stadium, but as far as the St. Petersburg thing, the Rays will be playing in St. Petersburg in the Pavilion Stadium in 2029.
All right, let's go out. We have. I don't even know where to.
You were making notes. You were swiping left when you should have swiped right. I saw it.
You go with the the retractable roof there, so you want to keep the home field advantage. Because I know there's a lot of people that like the heat, but it's an advantage for this Bucs team, I think, in my opinion. All right, let's table the comments for right now. We'll go back out to them. Let's go out to Ed. Ed, welcome to the Evolution.
Hey, I heard you guys talking about the Rays' new stadium. Are the Rays getting a new stadium, or are they going away?
Nobody knows. I would have a better shot of being with a supermodel at this point than the Rays getting a new stadium. Nobody knows.
Those are long odds.
Well,
I love you, Pete.
They kind of need one now, don't they?
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, it got destroyed during the hurricane, so they kind of need one now, don't they?
I mean, the Tropicana got destroyed, but they weren't going to play in that in the first place. So for the Rays to try to make. Well, they're going to play and they're going to play in Tampa now. I mean, because it's destroyed. But
where are they playing in Tampa?
Well, they're going to be playing at
Steinbrenner Field.
Steinbrenner Field, yeah. Legends Field. Yeah.
It used to be. Didn't it used to be Bright House Networks Field or something?
No, that's Clearwater.
That's Clearwater. Yeah,
that's where the Phillies play. Yes.
Now on to the Bucs.
Yes.
Brother.
I believe they definitely need to try to improve their defense.
Okay.
I think the offense is going to be great.
Okay.
With the emergence of our rookie wide receiver sensation.
Okay.
Gerald McMillan. I guess that's his last name.
Jade McMillan.
Yes.
Jake McMillan.
Yeah. Not Jake.
So
Jake
I think they're going to be great regardless of what happens with Godwin. I think they're going to be fine.
Jalen McMillan, you guys. Not Jake.
Kidding. No, I was kidding with you.
Yeah,
Come on.
Why are you gonna make me say the wrong name twice? Thanks for just throwing.
Thanks a lot, Ray.
That's great off the shot right there.
Sorry. I bring the mayhem, brother. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we need to bring in some talent there in the front end of that defense. The back end of the defense, it needs help. I just think it needs a little veteran leadership back there. That's what I think.
Are you worried about Levante David? I mean, if he just says this was me, it's still the most fantastic career. And I love Gerald McCoy getting on board with talking about Levante. But if Levante leaves the middle of this defense, the Buccaneers have to address that first and foremost through the draft or free agency, right?
Do they though?
What do you mean? Do they have to address it? I
Do
mean,
they
what
have
are
a guy that could throw in there for now?
well, listen, they don't. I mean, JTS is not the answer. He's a free agent. You really don't have anybody at this point. You could draft somebody. You can go into free agency and get somebody. And again, free agency is the biggest indicator of what you're going to do in the draft. If you address that need, you don't necessarily have to do that in the draft unless you're going to double dip. It put the onus on it. With that being said, you would think this would be their biggest need at this point. If you have an opportunity to get a generational player like a Garrett or a Crosby, even a Hendrickson is pretty damn good. 17 and a half sacks.
Garrett is a linebacker?
Well, he's an outside linebacker, a defensive end outside. Yeah.
He's a defensive end disguised as a linebacker.
Yes. Well, you can do both. I mean, with this.
He can. Oh, he can.
Absolutely. Yes.
Better than Vita Vea, right?
I've always seen him play, defensive end.
Yeah, you've got Cansey, you've got Cansey, Vea, Yaya Diaby, and then you have kind of a hole there at this point, and who's going to be
veteran leadership. And it's not because Levante's the one player who figured out Todd Bowles' defense, but he's been in it the longest, and through all the iterations going back, but also across the middle, that veteran leadership. And you don't want to just install just a rookie there, like figure it out on the run. So you're hoping that replacement or that fill-in piece is actually already in the building. But again, if that's the case, if whether Levante's coming back or not, and some people think that's predicated upon, or Gerald McCoy talked about with Tom Krasnicki from 95, WDAE on Radio Row last week, that he can't guarantee Levante's ready to come back. His body hasn't spoken to him yet. He hasn't decided. But if you had a Myles Garrett on this team, I mean, how tempted would it be, or how much easier would it be to close the case with Levante to come back for week 15 or year 15? I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So
all right, Ed, we're gonna run from here, man. I appreciate the call. Well, you can use the second call if you want to. Good stuff as always. I want to continue to read the comments. I'll get you out of here because we got turnbuckle talk, and then I gotta be off by 11 because again, it's yes. Josh Sweat says Christopher Cole. KR says evening Peter and Harry, go Bucks and go Sweat and Pratt from Cincinnati. I like it. David says Chase Young has never had 10 sacks in the season. The most he ever had was 7.5, and in 6 years he's only got 22 sacks. That's not good, but again, 25 years old potential, but he has not been the same player since his rookie. Dave England says sound effects are back. It's exciting. It is exciting, Dave. I'm glad that you like that. I figured it out. It was not the laptop. It was actually the user era. It's amazing how that works. Brady would want White, but he's on his last year of his contract. That's okay. Ed says Davis needs to be Robin. David needs to be Robin to his Batman. David says, I think Josh Sweat would be a more dominant threat on our defensive line than Young, and Young's injury prone. Makes sense. Ed says, I love it when the Greek comes on. His condo is so comforting. Ed says, Ray, don't forget Greenville, South Carolina for your next evacuation. Okay. There you go. Ed says, Fred and Butterson. I don't think it's Jason's heart to trade him. DEW. Okay. I don't think Barrett was that dominant. You had JPP, Sue, Arvita, or Barrett, who are the most focused on stopping. Definitely wasn't Barrett after that one season. Never got anywhere near those sacks again. Still pretty good. Not the 19.5 sacks. Of course, the Buccaneers are the best in the business at restructuring contracts. Good comment right there. Oh, yeah. Let's go out to Direct Target Marketing Group, which crowned me the best podcast in 2022. Yes. Appreciate that. The Sports Web, hands down, is the best podcast. Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Let's go out to Ed here. We are hitting at top mini picks to get free premiums, to get a proven edge rusher. We won't likely develop one, but the scheme doesn't focus on one guy eating all day.
There's a lot of truth there.
Yes, right? Absolutely. But it definitely helps you out. It helps the other guys.
No, it does. There's a lot of truth there too.
Yes. Go Bucs. Absolutely go Bucs. Ed says the Drake attack is go ahead and say that word.
Defamatory.
There you go. Louis says, I agree. I feel like a lot of people don't understand, and that's why they didn't like the halftime show. I thought it was great. Louis says, I think he definitely buried Drake. I enjoyed the halftime performance over the Super Bowl. I think a lot of people did. Cole, I want Sweater Crosby, but it doesn't cost much. Thank you, Cole. CSB, brother.
Ooh, yeah.
David says, being a Buccaneer fan, I still have to say people don't give props to the 49ers defense when they played Denver. They held that high-powered offense to 10 points.
Bill Romanowski at that point was on so much steroids that he was basically just going around and hitting 11 guys at once. But no, that was a good defensive performance by the Niners that year.
Ronnie Lott there. You had Charles Haley, the greatness of Charles Haley. I mean, there's so many.
But Romanowski scared you.
Yes.
He really did.
And then later
that
on,
guy was.
You had Ken Norton also a part, and then eventually he went to Dallas. I think it was because he messaged the girl from Stranger Things when she was very underage. That is correct.
Right.
We've heard that. Ray Kennedy, not Puff Daddy. Petty, not Petty. Laugh out loud. And clarify. And again, East Coast, West Coast war started when Pac was shot at Quad Studio in New York right before Pac went to jail. But that is true. But then he Biggie assumed, well, he didn't assume when Hit 'Em Up came out, that it was about, he said that he slept with his wife. Faith slept with his wife. So, of course, and then Tupac, when he did the not Hit 'Em Up, but he did Who Shot Ya, he assumed that was about him taking out Tupac at Quad Studios. So, again, the only thing that was made out was people assuming at that point. And I get it. That's rap beef. That's what it's about. That's what we enjoy to a certain degree. But then again, I kind of feel like, if those allegations aren't true, does it take away from the art? Just my question. That's all.
I'm gonna show your range, because literally right now I need you to take this to Turnbuckle Talk, because I look forward to this segment every week. I need you to get to Ralph. I need you to work it out after coming out of a reference and explaining the rap battles going back 30 years, brother. Thanks for having me on tonight. Go do your thing. I love you, Pete.
All right, love you too, brother. There you go. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy.
Mr.
There you go. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. Great stuff there. Yes, that's absolutely correct, Ed. So we can officially say that 2021 draft picks were a big bust, just like our 2016 draft picks. Yeah, definitely was not a good time. Look at this, and we're going to go out to Ralph in just a moment, but we got a call here, an update. So let's go out to this guy.
Book him, Dano.
Let's go out to Mr. Philadelphia Eagle himself. He's a big-time Eagles fan, the legend himself, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. We got Ray on with us. What's going on, man?
Well, we had a first tonight at USF.
Okay.
Triple overtime.
Really? Okay, triple overtime.
USF won in triple overtime. And it was the first time Coach Fernandez has ever been in a triple overtime in his storied career out of USF, which I think now is in his 26th year.
Wow.
But it was phenomenal. Pusis hits a 3 at the buzzer to put it into overtime, and then she hits one from the logo
to
put him up 3. And it was the craziest game, Peter. USF's down 3 with 2 seconds to go, and Rice has the ball. And Rice throws it out of bounds, and no one touches it. So USF gets to take it in, and Rice didn't guard the 3-point line. They just went out, boom, caught it, shot it. All you had to do was foul them before they got the ball, and it was a crazy game.
Definitely crazy game for Jose Fernandez and the women's basketball team there for USF. So congratulations to them. I know you cover them for Amped Up Sports, Leo Haggerty. We appreciate you giving us the update. What else is on your mind, my friend?
Well, I had a great 3.5 hours watching the Eagles dismantle the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. And Peter, I had said this in the beginning of the year. I said there's 2 things. I got Ohio State winning the college football playoff, and I got the Eagles winning here. And, you asked me, well, why do you think that? I said, Saquon Barkley. He's going to make the difference now. He made the difference in the Super Bowl, but in a different way. And there's 2 things people aren't talking about that need to be talked about. Let's start on the defensive end first. The Eagles never blitzed. They rushed 4 guys. And we've talked to Ron Jaworski on so many occasions, and he says the quarterback's worst fear is color in his face. And Davis and Carter just collapsed that pocket right in front of Mahomes. It got to a point where Mahomes had to look at the rush. And when that happens, you're going to get beat.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh Sweat on the outside, definitely. And we were talking about this tonight, Leo, and we're on with Leo Haggerty of Amped Up Sports from USF Women's Basketball after their victory tonight. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Josh Sweat on the outside absolutely benefited from that interior pressure, which was in Mahomes' face all night long.
Yeah, and the bottom line was the edge guys didn't get deeper than Mahomes. They did exactly what the Bucs did, is they forced Mahomes, if he's going to go, you can't step out. You got to go out and around.
Yeah.
And they were able to run him down because they have really good athletes. But it was the simplest game plan in the world, but no one recognized it except Ken Podolak and myself and Al Curtis, who we talked to tonight. And the Eagles only rushed 4, but they committed 5 to the rush. And now you're probably saying, wait a second, what's going on here? They spied Mahomes, but they spied him from 8 to 10 down the field. And it was a different linebacker. It was Vaughn. It was Baum. It was sometimes a corner, but it was a different guy. What it did is it took away Kelsey over the middle quick. And if the rush didn't get there, it forced Mahomes to pull the ball down.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know. In fact, the bomb interception that really iced that game and made it 24-0 at halftime, he was the spy. He was actually, and Mahomes never saw him. Now, Sweat walked Tooney right back into him. And, everybody said, well, Patrick Mahomes had a bad game. Well, and Andy Reid got out-coached. No, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes got out-athleted.
Yeah.
The Eagles' front four was bigger, faster, stronger, and meaner than the Kansas City Chiefs' offensive line.
Agree.
And they just dominated. Now, let's go to the other side of the ball. Spagnuolo had a choice. Are you going to stop Barkley or are you going to try and stop Hurts? Well, he did the right thing. He said, okay, we're going to take away Barkley. The problem was, and if you look at it, they had a safety that was mirroring Barkley. Wherever he went, they went. And their offensive line, everybody's saying, well, all he was getting was 2, 3, 4 yards. But the defensive line wasn't rushing. They were playing gap. And they were sitting there. So Hurts is back there just picking them apart. And Spagnuolo just, he can't do anything else.
Right.
Because, okay, if I don't take away Barkley, he's going to gash us. And right now, we're down 17-0, 24-0, and we've got no plan. And it wasn't they were out coached. They were out athleted. The Eagles, and we had said this, Peter, if this game doesn't come down to officiating, the Eagles are probably going to win by double digits because they're that much better than Kansas City. And everybody said, well, Mahomes will bail them out. We saw what happens when you make Mahomes a non-pocket quarterback. We saw that in Tampa, and we saw the exact same thing Sunday.
You're exactly right. The pressure was getting on him, and then I feel like it's kind of similar to Super Bowl 37, where Jerry Rice doesn't get a catch until late in the third quarter. The same thing can be said about Travis Kelce and how the Eagles shut him down, and he didn't look like himself. And give credit to where credit is due. That defense did a good job. But in your opinion, do you feel like this could be the last time we see Kelce on a football field?
Probably not. I don't think he wants to go out that way.
Okay.
And that's not a good way to go out. Let's be honest. They just think about this. The Kansas City Chiefs, who everybody thinks is like the greatest show on turf now,
right,
with Mahomes, they don't get over the 50-yard line until 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the third quarter. They have 1 first down in the first half. They are 0 for the first half on third down.
Right.
that's a recipe for disaster. And it was. And again, I feel sorry for the defense, for the Chiefs, because they had to roll the dice, and it came up 7. They cracked. Simply as that. Because they thought, let's make Hurts beat us, and he did. Plain and simple. He torched them.
He did. If you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I know you got to run. I appreciate the time. We'll have to get you on here either a Monday or Wednesday and recap even more of this Super Bowl. And I definitely want to talk to you about Bucs free agency. But it's been mentioned, Myles Garrett is going to be on the trading block here. Trey Hendrickson could possibly be on the trading block. He led the NFL with 17.5 sacks. But Josh Sweat, 8 sacks last year, Super Bowl performance. He will be a free agent. If you're the Bucs, are you pursuing Josh Sweat?
I am looking into it. The only problem, Peter, is in the 3-4. Where does he fit? He fits fine in a 4-3.
Right.
Because he's the edge rusher. But where does he fit in Todd Bowles' 3-4? And again, he's not a hand in the dirt guy. He's a stand-up rush end.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't see a lot of that in Tampa. He'd have to probably play linebacker here. I'm not saying he can't.
Right.
But, we got to see what player fits the scheme. I mean, Hendrickson and Garrett, they're your third down linemen.
Mm.
And you got Vita Vea in the middle. Now you'd have him. You'd have Cansey. There's your 3 down guys.
Yeah.
Where's your fourth? Where's your edge rusher? And see, this is the nice thing about the 3-4. They're going to rush 4 guys. You just don't know who that 4th guy is. And that's a quandary for an offensive coordinator.
Well, because you play a lot of nickel also, you're going to run some 4-man fronts. So I think Garrity's even talked about it. And I said, listen, you got to make a trade. And Ralph, just stand by. I know we're going to get to turnbuckle talk here right after Leo. We didn't expect it, but we got Leo on here. So we're going to give him some time to talk. And, for me, Garrett has talked about this on Radio Row a couple of weeks ago where he would be okay with being in a 3-4 defense. He would be open to it, but also you look at the National Football League and Todd Bowles' scheme, he's not always playing that base scheme. He's also playing nickel. So I think, if you get a Myles Garrett and you trade 2 first-round picks and a player, you've got to make that move because the window at this point is open. A lot of people would say, well, it's too much to give up. But when it comes down to it, your window is open. You're not sure if you can get somebody in free agency. Furthermore, you're not going to get, that player that is a generational talent like a Garrett or a Crosby at this point. And if you have to give up money for it, that's what you got to do. You got to make that move because he is been a constant factor the last 7 years, double-digit sacks. What do you think about Garrett?
He would definitely be an improvement.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But right now, you got to figure out how to beat the Eagles, the Lions, and the Commanders.
Well,
that's what you got to figure out.
To be fair,
you don't have to worry about it.
To be fair, in the regular season, they did beat the Eagles pretty handily. They did get by the Lions. They did beat the Commanders the first game. Of course, trouble happened there in the first round, but you're exactly right. And the way you beat the Eagles and those other teams is you've got to strengthen those interior lines, and that starts, in my opinion, up front defensively. The linebacker, the corner, we can talk about that all day long until the cows come home. But if you don't have the pass rush to get after it, for me, it's even worse for that linebacker or for that corner. You've got to have that pressure up front. Leo, anything else here? Because I know you got to run, my friend.
Yeah, real quick. Bill Sell was on with Colin Cowherd today.
Nice.
And he brought up a great video and a great point. The Chiefs had a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
They had Worthy in the backfield. They ran him out and emptied the backfield, and he's going against Vaughn, and he's running a go route.
Right.
Linebacker can't stay with him. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes didn't have enough time to let the receiver clear. That would have been a touchdown because Mahomes would have dropped that dime right in there. So, again, when you go back to the National Football League,
mm-hmm.
the most important thing right now is a pass rush because you can sit there all night long and have the best defensive backs the best linebackers. You're going to have the best back seven. If that quarterback can sit back there and throw when he wants to he wants to, and you're getting beat, it's not going to happen because these guys are good. These guys under center, they're the best of the best. And if you let a guy like Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Daniels, you let them hang back there, they're going to pick you apart.
They are going to.
And that's the biggest problem right now is the Bucs have to find a way to make the quarterback uncomfortable, make him uncomfortable quickly. And I know this is going to really tick off Harry, but I'm wondering if Washington sent a playoff share to the Bears for taking Caleb Williams.
Yeah, we need to talk about this on Monday. We need to get you on here on Monday because we haven't been able to get you here on Wednesday. Can you come on Monday night at 9:00?
Yeah,
Right.
because there's just too much happening with basketball and hockey right now. It's crazy.
I get it, my friend. We'll get you on Monday night at 9:00.
Get to your turnbuckle talk because I got a little bit delayed with a triple overtime. But Peter, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Yes. Well, here we got your sound effect too.
Book him, Dano.
Definitely.
All right, my friend. I appreciate you. Yes, absolutely. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. We appreciate your time here on The Evolution. All right.
Glad I could contribute, Peter. Hey, have a great night. Hey, tell Ray. Just tell Ray.
Yeah, exactly, Ray. All right, Leo. Good stuff there. Let me get him. Go out to Ralph Williams here. Ralph, welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television as we get ready for Turnbuckle Talk. Really quick, your initial thoughts on Super Bowl 59.
Well, I really wasn't rooting for any team here. I didn't want Kansas City to get 3 in a row, but that wish happened. But at the same time, I didn't want Kenny Pickett to get a Super Bowl ring, but he got one. So did 2 other Pitt players, Avonte Maddox and AJ Wood. So it was I expected the Eagles to come out like they did, and it was great to see Kellen Moore call a good game here and go out on top to go start his head coaching career with the New Orleans Saints. Unlike Ben Johnson, of course, who blew it in the Detroit game when they played in the playoffs there, and then had to go to Chicago, like that. So it was good to see Kellen Moore. The game plan was good. Vic Fangio's defense came alive, and Kansas City got caught with their pants down, Peter. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Let's go out to this guy right here.
Damn it, Jim. What the hell is the matter with you?
Jim, you're on Turnbuckle Talk. You're on with yours truly, along with Mr. Ralph Williams here, bodyguard of the Burg.
Yeah, I was making my second call. I forgot to talk about, Leo Haggerty and what's your guest now? What's his name?
Mr. Ralph Williams, yes.
Yeah,
yes, hello.
They broke it down. They made the defense simple, and it took the Eagles took a put from the defense that was played in Super Bowl for the Tampa Bay that beat them, and it just shook the whole team, and really the big guys up front on both ends, they win championships.
Yes.
So,
yeah, lines of scrimmage win championships.
And the offensive line just bullied the Kansas City Chiefs. So,
well, I agree with you on that, and that was the big time key when it comes to that defense. And again, Josh Sweat leading the way there, and of course the 2 big hosses, as my uncle would say, and a Jordan Davis, and of course a Jalen Carter out of Georgia. That's the reason why you draft him in the first place. Jim, what else?
That's pretty much all I want to say. I'll let you finish your show. I forgot to talk about that earlier. That's all. And then Patrick Mahomes, man, it looked kind of soft, and he got to come up with some stuff to come up with. So
yep,
he needs more wide receivers too. But
he needs a number
Patrick
1 wide
Mahomes,
receiver. Right, he's not Tom Brady. Yeah, we can stop that conversation, Jim. Appreciate the call as always. We'll see you on Monday night, my friend, or maybe earlier. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a show over the weekend. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right. One there, Jim. Thank you.
All right. So we talked about Royal Rumble there. You have Jey Uso winning. Yeet. What did you think of that decision? Were you surprised by it? Because it comes down to, and when you get a chance to talk about this last week, I'm glad you're better now. medically.
Yeah, my neck is. I have 2 pinched nerves in my neck, Peter,
Oh.
and sometimes it get And
Not
last week
fun.
it was real bad. So
Absolutely. Well, good that you're good now. That's always a great thing. But Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble, were you surprised by that? Because a lot of people thought John Cena was going to win it, go off into the sunset, get that 17th championship. I mean, the right move, in your opinion, by WWE to crown Jey Uso the winner and going against Gunther at this point?
Well, I think they had to go in this direction, Peter, because Jey Uso is a fan favorite. I mean, look at the Yeet movement. Look at the T-shirts he sells. Look at the merchandise that he's pushing. And it's time for him, main event Jey Uso, to win a singles championship. And I'm glad that he's, making his own legacy and not following behind Roman Reigns. Not that I have a problem with that. It's just a concept that I'm glad that they finally decided to go with Jey Uso. And if they make him one of the heads of the company, like Cody Rhodes, and as Vince McMahon would say, and I said this Tuesday night on my Wrestle Talk show, Vince McMahon would call him a B+ player. But I think Triple H has enough confidence in him, and I think that's going to happen. I think he's going to become a champion down the road here.
Yeah, absolutely. You're completely correct about that. I definitely think it's bound to happen at this point. It should happen.
I was surprised, though, Peter. It really shocked the heck out of me. I actually did think it was going to be John Cena or Seth Rollins, somebody with a big name. I never expected Jey Uso to win this. I really did.
I thought it was going to be CM Punk, and it was not CM Punk. Now, the other shocking stuff that's been happening.
Even Roman Reigns.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. Yeah. They had Ricky Starks was released by AEW. We had Miro and also Malachi Black. They're most likely all headed back to WWE. In fact, Ricky Starks last night made an appearance on NXT. He had this to say in his promo: if NXT is the future of professional wrestling, well, guess what? You need an absolute superstar of the future. If this is the hottest brand, well, you need the hottest free agent right now, baby. Everyone's been asking when the Revolution will be televised again. Well, I'm right here, aren't I? Of course, Starks was removed from AEW's roster page on Monday, and it was reported he's free and clear to go wherever he wanted. Now, there's been multiple reports of him being unhappy with AEW and their direction when it comes to storylines. And because of this, and because Tony Khan got wind of him moving on to possibly WWE, he hasn't been on television for the last couple of months. So what do we think of Ricky Starks? A lot of people say, Coldplay, Rock, a young version of The Rock. I think he's talented. He's great on the mic. He did some work there with Edge. What do we make of Ricky Starks in NXT?
I like Ricky Starks. I'm glad he's there. Him and Ethan Page will be able to make something of themselves. They were kind of like put out the pasture in AEW, which Tony Khan right now needs not to be putting people out the pasture. He needs to keep everybody he can keep. He's starting to cut wrestlers like WWE does. And Malachi Black coming back's a good idea. He could possibly be joining the Wyatt Six maybe because Bo Dallas is supposedly hurt and may not even be coming back. So we'll see where that goes. And Miro, we'll see if he can come back and do something with himself. He's done nothing in AEW for a while, and he was kind of a dead horse in WWE, but let's see if he can get the saddle back up and get back on the trail.
Yeah, if anybody can promote those guys, it's Triple H because he's familiar with them. He built up Miro at the time, Rusev Day, and then also Malachi Black. I believe it's Alistair. Is it Alistair?
Alistair Black, yes. That's what he was when he was here, yeah.
Tommy,
sorry, in the WWE, man. I'm sorry.
Correct. No, that's okay. Tommy Dreamer had this to say when it came to Ricky Starks. If you're Ricky Starks and you got called up to the main roster today, where the hell do you fit in? You probably miss WrestleMania. You don't fit in there. But Penta is different for the mask and the way he wrestles. It was two different debuts. Ricky also needs it to also clear up whatever stigma or whatever negative things the fans say about him, because then WWE has to sit there and say, does this kid have an attitude? By Tommy Dreamer makes lots of sense. He's perfect on NXT. It is a getting bigger brand. They're on CW at this point. It makes sense. And again, Starks will have an opportunity to build himself up there. They'll have an opportunity to push him, and eventually he will get to the main roster because he's talented enough. to do it. Now, Booker T had this to say when it came to Mr. Malachi Black. He says, look at it from this perspective. Malachi Black in WWE, everything was done for him. He didn't have to write stories. He didn't have to create the factions. But then you go to AEW, and it's like you're going to these independent shows. You go, what do you want me to do? And the promoter goes, what do you want to do? Booker believes that some WWE stars thrive in a structured environment like WWE, as executing an idea is not always as easy as playing a role. Black wasn't the only former WWE star that Booker thought struggled with AEW's creative process, as he believes former WWE United States champion Miro also suffered under Tony Khan's lack of direction. I think going over there and not having that structure hurt a guy like Malachi Black. Going over there, not having the structure led to a guy like Miro writing his own promos. Booker believes leaving WWE's system only hurt the likes of Miro and Black. It's not conducive way to go out and create a promotion and run a promotion. Can you imagine Hollywood actors showing up with their own scripts? Well done, Booker T, on his podcast there, the Hall of Fame podcast.
And
what
I
do you
think
make of it?
WWE, Peter, will make Ricky Stark something. I really believe that, because they have the minor leagues, or if you want to call NXT that, the minor leagues of their system, and it's a development show, and it's great to have in the setting that it's in. And I think, like Ethan Page and Ron Breaker and some of these guys, I think Ricky Starks will fit in really well with NXT.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and I will go to this. WWE also had their own releases, according to Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp. Sonya Deville, Cedric Alexander, who could be in AEW there with the Hurt Syndicate, if you will.
Yes.
Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Blair Davenport, Giovanni Vinci, Isla Dawn, Paul Ellering, AOP's Akim and Razor, which I don't understand how they
That shocked me. That shocked me to death, Peter, because I actually thought with this Final Testament or whatever they were called, they were supposed to really beef them up. And again, they wasted their time, in my opinion. And if I'm them, I'd go to TNA or somewhere and make something of myself, because that seems to be the place to go, or AEW, and try to make something of yourself.
All right, I want to go back to these comments here really quick. Let's see here. Dave says, I say we should all talk Snoop Dogg and Kid Rock into collaborating together for a halftime show. I think why not? Why can't they do it? Did you agree with the Hall of Fame class of 2025? It's a great question there with Sterling Sharp. I definitely think he deserved to be in there. Jared Allen. I didn't see a lot of disagreements. Like, guys had to wait a little bit, but I think everybody was deserving. I mean, did you agree with the Hall of Fame class there, Ralph? And how come there weren't more? Because I know Tony Dungy was disappointed that there weren't more people voted in, more players voted in, especially in Eli Manning.
Yeah, I agree. I think Eli Manning should have got in. I also believe that Hines Ward, who for like the 10th time has tried to get in here, is not in. James Harrison, from the Steelers, of course. And in a few years, Ben will be starting to work his way into it, Ben Roethlisberger. So, but I like what I see this year. I do. I think it's a nice class. I just wish Eli was in it. He deserves to be in it. He won 2 Super Bowls and played for a Giants team under Tom Coughlin, who, unlike now, or then was a great football team.
Right, absolutely. It's a good point. All right, we'll continue to read these comments here. Ed says, "Pin the number, please." We did. Christopher Cole, you put a statement out on his ability. It was a strong statement, absolutely. Ed, Leo can turn the blinker off now. Thank you, Ed. Absolutely missing the Dominican Sue along with Vita. Big time horses. Mahomes was so inaccurate too. Ed says, yeah, those guys can never be replaced. Eagles are loaded, but Kelsey looked old and uninterested. Bregman is going to the Red Sox. Dang it. Christopher Cole, Bucs defense allowed Cousins and Rattler to go off. Who could forget that? And I did like the Flair win. I was hoping for a newcomer from NXT. Did you like that? Charlotte Flair coming back into the Royal Rumble there. It was all expected. I mean, she's going to be, the one that's going to be in WrestleMania. Did you agree with that?
I do. I agree with it. But, I have to look at this perspective, too. Like you said, somebody from NXT there, the commenter said there, because they have worked hard. Charlotte Flair's been hurt. she should start at the bottom and work her way back up.
Yeah.
But I do agree with it for the purpose of selling tickets and ratings and things like that. And also too, she got to get into something because her and Andrade broke up or divorcing or whatever.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that going on there in WWE right now. Lots of divorce, NXT, lots of people divorcing, breaking up.
350 days on the road there, Peter. I watched the documentary.
There you go. Good stuff. All right, I want to wrap this up because we're going to have an abbreviated edition.
Roommates, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's Alexander doing? You still have him?
Is doing great, especially when he's quiet and he doesn't bark when people knock on the door. He does that sometimes and it wakes everybody up. Yeah. Let's go out to Freddie Prinze Jr., who predicts that John Cena's WWE career will end. He says he keeps saying the championship 17-17, so I can hand it to the man that gets 18. Prinze, of course, used to be a writer for WWE at the time. I think Cena at this point in his career, where he wants that tragic ending instead of the hero's ending. He was the hero for so long. He changed a lot since I worked there. So that's why I think he sees a cooler, unique story. Do you agree with it? Because I kind of feel like they're going to give the belt to John Cena, and then eventually Cena will drop the belt to someone to put them over, because that's what Cena does. He does the best thing for business. That's what it's all about. It's what Triple H. So do we feel like that's going to happen where John Cena does get the 17th title? Does he fall short? What happens in your opinion?
I think he gets the 17, walks out, goes away in the sunset. JBL once said, "Big match, Sean," because you know why? He's always good for the big match, but he always blows the big one too. I mean, but JBL once always said that it's called Big Match John. One other thing I wanted to say was I was just at a wrestling event on Saturday here in Pittsburgh. I got to meet once for a second time. I got to meet EC3, the NWA World Champion. And I also got to take a selfie with Mark Madden. I haven't seen Mark in a long time. And I also got to take a selfie with Congo Kong.
Very nice, man. Very nice. It's good stuff. We got to have EC3 on here sometime. Maybe you'll hook that up for us.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He
All
really
right.
is.
Ralph, we appreciate
his
the time.
character well, though.
He does. Absolutely. Ethan Carter III. Appreciate the time, my friend, as always. And we'll see you next week. Okay.
I'll be here. God willing, and the creek don't rise.
There you go. Love it. Love it. That's
have a great one, Peter. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. There you go. So that's the end of that. We'll keep it down. Guys, like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Thanks a lot to all the guests tonight. Mr. Harry the Greek, of course, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. We had Leo chime in there. And, of course, Ralph Williams. If you want to be my friend on Facebook, you should, because you got 329,000 new viewers on Facebook alone. Just keep on building this brand. It's the evolution of sports talk television. Peter H. Blake. And do three things. We're going to keep it silent. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the evolution of sports talk television. As always, go Bucs.